should be appreciated for all this effort. And it was great to be a part of this whole association. And we look forward to many more such initiatives. And I extend my support for all these initiatives, both to Rao sir and Bhattacharya sir. So that's all from my end. And it's again, as always, we have some wonderful experts today, and they're great contributions to this area, and overall their contributions to climate change are certainly noteworthy, and it would be indeed great to hear them with their perspective on bamboo. Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Charu. Umakant, let's proceed for the presentations. Will you please read out the profile of Dr. Pramod Kant to begin with?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. And good afternoon to everyone, and warm welcome to today's webinar. I heartily welcome to Dr. Pramod Kant, sir, who is the today's key speaker. Dr. Pramod Kant holds a PhD in climate change and forestry, master in physics and master in forestry, and a post-graduation diploma in wildlife conservation and management, and has more than 3 decades long experience in the IFS related to forest administration and management. He led the enforcement of cities in its formative years at Chennai between 1985 to 88, and then at Mumbai from 1988 to 90. He established the first Tiger project KMTR in Tamil Nadu, initiated the highly successful eco-development program around its buffer, and made into the biggest hub for the field research in wildlife in India while leading it on 2 occasions. He has held several top positions in Tamil Nadu Forest Department, both in the headquarters and also as a managing director of the Tamil Nadu Tea Plantation Corporation, Kunnur, which is the largest tea plantation company in the public sector in India. In 2008, Dr. Kant took retirement from the Indian Forest Service and has since been involved in writing, teaching, and capacity building in climate change adaptation policymaking. Dr. Pramod Kant has written more than 50 papers on forestry and climate change related issues and has been a co-author of the number of books. So thank you so much. And now, without any delay, I would like to hand over this webinar and timing to Dr. Pramod Kant, sir. Please, you can start your presentation, sir.
Thank you very much for these kind words of introduction. I am delighted to be part of these deliberations, which have run through 20 webinars, which must be a kind of a record of a kind. Right. So I would request you to kindly, operate it from that side, from your side. Right. So to come back to my topic, and before that, a few words about the Balaghat Bamboo Foundation. I find that this idea of creating a foundation for bamboo is a brilliant idea, because unless you have an institution, you cannot work towards that, the aim, towards your ideals, towards what you think ought to happen. And in the period that this foundation has been in existence, it has done excellent work. And this particular webinar I particularly find as something very, very important. I hope they continue with this similar activities in future also. And I hope they also are able to raise the necessary finances from the appropriate organization, including the Green Climate Fund. If it is a large program of this nature, Green Climate Fund should be a good source. But before that, even Kempa funds also should be available, accessible for them. I'm sure Ajay knows all these things far better than I do. He has handled these issues at the national and the state level for a long time. And I'm sure he would succeed in that. To come to bamboo and the climate change, I got my first introduction as a professional to bamboo. As bamboo, as an Indian, we all get used to seeing bamboo around us in various forms, bamboo being used and bamboo being grown, bamboo clumps around your homes, around our homes. So that introduction is there from the very beginning. But what was uh, uh, as a professional, the first instance of bamboo was in the in Tamil Nadu cadre, where at that time we were supplying bamboo to the Seshasai paper mills. And in those, that was late 1970s, early 1980s, and those were the days when the bamboo is a resource, certainly in Tamil Nadu, and also from what I had gathered near Dandeli and in parts of Kerala, the resource management was not up to the mark. There was uh, some kind of a, you can say, uh, but was it because of the lack of training? I'm not very sure whether because lack of training, but certainly there was a how we used to manage bamboo in, or rather, in entire Tamil Nadu, not just in some districts of Tamil Nadu, where the Seshasai paper mills was working, but also elsewhere. It used to be left to the company to come and work, and there would be occasional inspections by the forest officers, and nothing would much would come out of that. The company would continue to exploit the way that they wanted to do that, and quite often used to be excessive, extremely excessive uh, exploitation on some areas, and larger areas being left out, because that would be the exploitation was governed by the excess ease, the low cost of access to the bamboo, and it was good that around the mid 80s we realized that this cannot be continued, and then things changed. Something which should never have happened did happen for the first 20 or 20, 30 years of after independence, and good thing that attention was paid to the management of bamboo uh, as a very important forestry crop, not as a sidey grass, as some perhaps thought at one time. This is something which is, uh, I think, has contributed to the improvement in the bamboo situation across the country. Later, it was in the 1997, 2002 that I was in the Northeast, headed the Northeastern Regional Office of the Ministry of Environment Forest. And there I could see the bamboo around everywhere. There was hardly a place where there was not enough bamboo. The, the, the Meghalaya state, which was my headquarters, and the other state which I was covering, Mizoram particularly, would appear as if there was nothing but bamboo, Muli bamboo, the monopodial Muli bamboo. And but the management of this great resource was rather poor. It largely in some state it was under the control of the local people, and who were doing that in a traditional manner, which traditional manner combined with their economic limitations, where the harvesting requires money to be invested, and either the lack of money or the lack of willingness to use money, both perhaps, were the primary cause of misuse of, or rather, lack of appropriate use of this great resource. They were, and there are, and tens of thousands of hectares, lakhs of hectares of bamboo across, which were not being managed properly. They would burn year after year, and then grow again. Um, and some were also exploited by, again in the same manner, excess is somewhere at some places and not at all in other places, depending upon how easy it was to access those areas. But lately, there also things have changed, are changing, and I hope with the initiatives like Balaghat Bamboo Foundation, which has brought in science and technology in this important area, things would improve still further. Can I go back to the first slide, please, now? Could you please take me to the first slide? Yeah, now the second one. Yes, right. Thank you very much. This is something which I like very much. Of the people, by the people, for the people. If there's any, this is I read in the flyer of this program, and I thought this was a really very beautiful way of introducing this great resource. This is a resource of the people, by the people, for the people. More than any other resource, it is this that one can think of. And I intend using, with your permission, this expression of yours elsewhere around the country when I have an occasion to speak on bamboo. It is spread over 35 billion hectares worldwide. That is the FAO figure. But actually the figures might be much, much more than that, up to 50 million hectares, perhaps. Mostly in South, Southeast China and the Far East, but also in other continents. Extensively also in some parts of Latin America also. This is a big resource, though not as important, not as well utilized as it is in the Southeast and in China and in the Far East. And an estimated 9 million people are employed in the bamboo sector. And this is actually a very small part of that. What is its potential? Perhaps 1/10 of its potential, perhaps even less than that. Next, please. Thank you. It has great climate change mitigation potential. The climate change mitigation potential through the sequestration of atmospheric CO2. This is nothing but carbon dioxide sequestered, as all vegetation is essentially. And then sequestered in this over this 35 million hectares or 50 million hectares, whichever figure that you choose to take, and then available for harvesting every year. A large part of that can be harvested, and then the harvested area, the harvested product can be utilized in bamboo products. There are all kinds of bamboo products which have the previous speakers, the three speakers who introduced the subject, spoke about. And as long as the bamboo products remain products under utilization, the the CO2, carbon dioxide remains stored away from the atmosphere and continues to contribute to mitigation of climate change. It's a great tool of adaptation to climate change, because as a grass, as a sensitive grass, it responds to the warming climate much sooner, much quicker. It has greater flexibility, a flexibility that is reflected in its the way it handles itself in wind, against storm, against excess of anything, or against lack of anything. That same thing is its greatest tool adaptation to the climate change. And when a major resource is able to adapt to the changing climate, that means that the people who are dependent upon this resource can also adapt with ease to the changing climate. And therefore, it's a great tool adaptation in the forestry sector. I consider this one of the best tool, perhaps the best tool adaptation to the changing climate in the forestry sector. grows much faster than trees, or it appears to grow, but as I will discuss very soon, it perhaps grows only as fast as taken over a longer time run as fast growing species. 1 hectare plantation of bamboo and its products can store 306 tons of carbon, 306 tons of carbon over a 60-year period, compared with 178 tons of fir trees. That is one experiment, but there are also other claims which we'll examine soon. Next, please. A study has been reported by INBAR in which they compared the carbon sequestration between Moso bamboo, a monopodial in China, and Chinese fir plantation in Southeast China. Phyllostachys pubescens plantation, Moso bamboo plantation at a density of 3,300 combs per hectare, and Chinese fir plantation at density of 2,175 trees per hectare at the time of planting. They have comparable features regarding their rapid growth rates and climatic requirements. So they can be compared. The annual net carbon storage for a newly afforested Moso carbon plantation showed a peak of 5.5 tons of carbon per hectare in the 5th year. And bamboo sequestered more carbon than the Chinese fir in the first 5 years, but less in the next 5 years. So under regular management practices, which include stand and soil management, combined with common harvesting regimes, in the case of bamboo, you require a soil management because there is a every year there is harvesting. So nutrients are taken away from the land, and therefore there needs to be replacement, either the natural replacement enhanced by the mulching and such, or by additions, which is not a requirement, of course, in the case of the fast growing tree species like Chinese fir. There you do that in the beginning, and then there is no further addition of nutrition in the soil. The study found that Moso bamboo plantation sequestered an equal or greater amount of carbon than the Chinese fir plantation within the latter's first 30 years rotation as well in the second 30 years rotation. So this was the finding reported by INBAR. Next, please. This shows the pictorial, the graphical representation of this. On the right hand, on the x-axis is the year, the time, and on the y the carbon accumulation over 1 hectare. And this in the case of the bamboo, because bamboo is harvested year after year, this includes the bamboo harvested and stored in products. Next, please. Similar comparison was done with eucalyptus compared to Symporial Ma bamboo. Ma bamboo is Dendrocalamus species found in southern China. And here also there was the performance in the carbon sequestration was kind of comparable. Under regular management practices with annual harvesting for the bamboo, the eucalyptus plantation outperformed the bamboo in the first 5 years until it was cut to be replaced by a new eucalyptus plantation, the same species. In the second 5 years, the Ma bamboo, Dendrocalamus species, Symporial, started to outperform the eucalyptus plantation. So the results indicate Symporial bamboo in the tropics is likely to sequester equal or more carbon than eucalyptus plantation. So basically equal, and more, only slightly more on a longer run. Next, please. Next, yeah, thank you very much. So again, in INBAR finding, sequestering carbon, the carbon stored in Chinese bamboo forest is projected to increase from 727 million tons in 2010 to 1,000 million tons in 2050. So in their calculation of their uh, of their of the zero carbon emission, bamboo plays a significant role there in case of China. I tried to get these figures for India, but I was not able to get it. Maybe Ajay or somebody else here or JV might be in a position to clarify on this. What is the amount of carbon stored in Indian bamboo forest, and also in other countries like Myanmar, like Thailand, like Laos, whichever country that it is available for. Then one more important thing for bamboo, it can also replace fossil fuels directly, because this is a resource which offers a highly renewable resource of, which is a highly renewable source of biomass energy. A community of 250 household requires only 180 kilograms, just about 2 tons of dry bamboo to generate sufficient electricity for 6 hours, assuming that that is what they use for lighting at least. So for lighting about 6 hours of in a day. So for lighting at least this is what is available for 250 households, just from 2 tons, less than 2 tons of dry bamboo. Now, if fans are to be used, then of course this would require, you can double it, and for longer duration, then accordingly you can also use the same figure for making the assessment of what would be required for the 24 hours of household consumption. Per 100 household basis, you can kind of make a projection. An important thing is bamboos can be grown on marginal lands and does not need to compete with agriculturally productive areas, and therefore compared to other crops, agriculture crops, which can also give you the energy, compared to that, this is much more useful in that sense. Next, please. Adaptation, I referred to that earlier. I consider bamboos are basically the flexibility in the bamboo. Bamboos are known to be flexible, and that flexibility, I think, is reflected in its overall character in adapting to the changing climate. It allows frequent harvesting. Therefore, when something is harvested frequently, the farmers are there close by or attend to it every year, and they can change their harvesting practices or management practices accordingly. Unlike in trees where you plant and then you leave and come back only after 10 years or after several years for thinning, etc., in case you undertake thinning. Here, every year one has to come at least, perhaps more often, because you also get other products from the bamboo, and the farmers keep coming to the bamboo again. I would say at least once or so in a month, and that also enables them to respond to the heat, to the lack of rains, or to the more rains caused by the changing climate. Then this is also useful for restoring degraded lands. It thrives on problem soils and steep slopes that are unsuitable for other crops, and is an effective windbreak. It is sturdy rhizomes and roots regulate water flows and prevent erosion. All these are very important adaptation tools. There's an example which Inbar quotes of rebuilding of rural livelihoods of 80,000 hectares of degraded land using bamboo as a pioneer species. So bamboo as a pioneer species used for reclaiming 80,000 hectares of degraded lands. And I'm not able to get a detailed report on this, and I'm sure some of the learned speakers say, the participants say, would know more about it. This is an important event. Next, please. The Inbar sites makes a case for planting bamboo or additional 15, 20, 30 million hectares, and it says that if additional 15 million hectares is planted on degraded lands and utilized optimally using modern technology, it could save, which means optimized for long-term storage, for replacing steel and cement and aluminium, and thereby storing the carbon away from the atmosphere for a long time. Then it can save up to 7 gigatons of carbon dioxide within 30 years. This additional 15 million hectares of degraded lands alone. And this is more than what 300 million 30 करोड़ न्यू इलेक्ट्रिक कार से जो कुछ बचेगा उससे ज्यादा इससे बच जाएगा in terms of mitigation. This would have a greater mitigation value than what 30 crore new electric cars would bring. Next, please. The problem is whether so much carbon is, of course, sequestered and stored, but can it also be turned into carbon credits? Can small farmers really get carbon credits from this? This requires that for the small farmers, it's important that the transaction cost must be very low, and there should not be any difficulty in getting their projects approved by the appropriate authorities. And the measurement reporting and verification parts of the methodologies are easy enough within their reach. So the Zhejiang Agriculture and Forestry University in China and in Bar, they have developed a methodology to make it easier for farmers and enterprises to receive carbon credits for planting bamboo. And the Chinese NDRC, National Development and Reform Commission, which is something similar to our own planning body, Niti Aayog, has recognized that as a key energy saving and low carbon technology. This methodology which they have developed. In Zhejiang alone, some 27,000 hectares of recently planted bamboo forest have produced 5.4 million certified carbon credits so far. And the new afforestation projects with bamboo are getting off the ground in Hubei and Fujian province, central and southern China. Next, please. It's important to ensure that the demand is there for bamboo. A continuous demand is there, because if the bamboo prices get depressed, the farmers are not going to plant bamboo. That is the only hope of having more and more area in the bamboo, is for the farmers to go for it on their own, to be eager to go for planting bamboo. And for that, the industrial demand for bamboo must increase. The European industrial bamboo products for cladding, flooring, and beams are being used for replacement for steel and cement. That is where the largest use of bamboo can be, besides other uses, of course. China has already built a booming industry out of bamboo. Engineered bamboo, processed to create a uniform straight edged material, is used to make everything from flooring to railway sleepers and manhole covers. you can think of that everything, perhaps everything is being made from this. And if we have the manhole covers being made from bamboo, I'm sure they would not be stolen as often as they are being stolen now. Next, please. New opportunities are opening up for engineered bamboo products for new heavy-duty application to substitute high-carbon abiotic alternatives. Materials strong enough to build storm drainage pipes and shock-resistant exteriors for bullet train carriages. Bullet train carriages also, the exteriors for that are being made of bamboo. These durable products are critical to realizing bamboo's carbon storage potential, because only when it has extensive use of this nature, when it basically replaces steel and more than steel, aluminium from the high-end products of this nature, which has a very high carbon value, carbon emission value. So those carbon emission values can be neutralized only when the low or rather negative carbon emission values or carbon storage value, high carbon storage values are coming from bamboo are utilized in place of these. Next, please. A little bit on the life cycle carbon footprints of common building material. Flattened bamboo, these are the commonly used words for this bamboo, using 850 kilogram of bamboo per cubic meter. It has a life cycle carbon footprint of minus 613 kilogram of CO2 equivalent per cubic meter. Strand woven bamboo, using 100 kilogram of bamboo per cubic meter. Indoor use 484 kilogram of CO2 equivalent, minus 484. And outdoor use, because there is more quicker decay, it is minus 141. Not as good as in the case of indoor, but it's still minus. Plywood bamboo plywood or ply bamboo, using 700 kilogram bamboo per cubic meter. This has minus 220 kilogram CO2 equivalent per cubic meter. This is generally better than European softwood, which is 334. Several softwood species used in Europe, ash and poplars and such, minus 334. Meranti plantation in Philippines. This is Shoria from Philippines, and it is this plantation has +4. So it is wood, but it is still there is +4 because certain cost, the emissions in the harvesting and the transportation, etc., are high enough, which basically negate the carbon sequestration values. It is that high. RCC, of course, we can understand is +554 kilogram of CO2 plus, as we can understand. Meranti, the same Shoria species from Philippines, natural forest, there it is +2077. It is +2077 plus here, such a high figure, because in these forests, the exploitation energy is spent in exploitation, because these are selection felling has to be done. Then from the forest area, hilly area, it has to be carried, and that carriage, etc., has emission values, and that is why it is so high. PVC is, I think we can understand, +2904. Steel is 14,400 plus. Aluminium above all +32,423 kilograms CO2 equivalent per cubic meter. So you can understand, instead of aluminium 32,423, if we use strand woven bamboo, very good product from there, or ply bamboo, there could be so much of gain in terms of the carbon sequestration, carbon not emitted. Next, please. LCA condition. This is basically This is an experimental measure, and these figures are specific production chain of industrial bamboo products of the company Moso International BV, following best practices, and is not typical. So other places it may be higher. This is, you have to take it only as a kind of a best practices followed, that this is what can happen, and this is over the life cycle. That credits through carbon sequestration and energy production in the end of life phase in an electric power plant outweigh the emissions caused by production and transport. Next, please. For end of life, it is assumed that 90% of the bamboo products are incinerated in an electrical power plant at the end of the life, and 10% at the end of life will end up in landfill, which is a realistic scenario for Western Europe. This is the book which has, from where it has been taken, Environmental Impact of Industrial Bamboo Products, Life Cycle Assessment and Carbon Sequestration by Lander and van der Lucht. This is a INBAR publication. Next, please. Thank you very much. So this is what I have to say, and I would be very glad to take questions at the end of this discussion. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. It was wonderful. It was excellent insight to bamboo climate change interface, substantiated by many good case studies and statistics. So we'll take questions after all the speakers have spoken, and
Okay.
you can take down. The participants may kindly take note their queries or opinions in the chat box. So may I request Umakant to read the profile of Dr. Durai for the next deliberation.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. And I heartily welcome to Dr. J. Durai, sir, who is the second key speaker of today's webinar. Mr. J. Durai is currently working as the Director of Global Program at the International Bamboo and Rattan Organization, INBAR. Currently based in the Beijing, China. For over 15 years, Durai has helped to design and manage large-scale bamboo-based livelihood development programs across Cambodia, India, and a number of countries in Eastern and Southern Africa. Durai sir has extensive knowledge and expertise in bamboo-based livelihood and environmental development, capacity building, partnership development, investment promotion, and fundraising. He holds 2 master's degrees in social work from Madras University, India, and environmental science and policy from Clark University, the USA. So thank you so much. And now, without any delay, I would like to hand over this webinar and timing to Dr. J. Durai sir. Sir, please you can start your presentation. Thank you so much.
Many thanks, Umakant, and many thanks to Mr. Bhattacharjee for inviting me for the seminar, and many thanks to the previous speaker, Mr. Kant. I think he has made my work simpler. So my presentation is on the bamboo and climate change, mitigation aspect, mainly. To introduce the organization, INBAR is an international intergovernmental organization with some 48 member state. It has 5 regional offices in Cameroon, Ecuador, Ethiopia, Ghana, and India, and its some secretariat is based in China. General overview of bamboo. As per the current research, we have some 1,632 species of bamboo, and 35 million hectares as per the FAO and Forester Resource Assessment. As pointed out by our previous speaker, the area would be more than 50 million hectares or so. The global internal production and consumption is more than $70 billion as of now, and the international trade is about $3 billion. Climate change, as you know, is the buildup of the greenhouse gases, like mainly the carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. In the past 100 years, the increase in the surface temperature has been about like 1.5 degrees centigrade, but it has gone at the speed has increased since 1980, like because the carbon emission has been high. And all of us, we can predict the impact of the climate change, like because all of us are observing it today. So the new concept has came up, the carbon neutrality, where the world, countries, organizations, like companies, businesses, product, we aim for the carbon neutrality. So it means the amount of carbon emission is equal to the amount of carbon absorption. How we can do it with like bamboo, how we can like mitigate the climate change, how we can reduce the carbon emission with like bamboo. We can do it in two ways. So one way is to sequester the carbon in form of the plant as a growing plant, and also in form of the product. We block the carbon, out the carbon. As you know,
Durai, your slides are not moving.
If my slides are not moving, then it might be the problem with is the slides moving now?
No, you can do it from the left side. Left move from left side boxes.
Of course, I can do it, but I don't know why it's not like moving.
Yeah, now it's moving. Now it moved.
Okay,
You can
so
restart.
I stopped it. I start it again so that it will be easier. So is it like sound visible, sir?
Yeah. Now it's moving.
Okay. So we all know that bamboo is not a tree. So it is a grass, or it is a system where it is been growing from the rhizome, so we can harvest it annually. As Dr. Kant has said, um, if we harvest it annually, or if we like manage the bamboo sustainably, it can sequester like much more carbon in comparison with the fast growing tree species, the Chinese fir and Eucalyptus, I suppose. If we don't like manage it, bamboo accumulates carbon in the growing period, like which is from year 1 to 7 or 8, and then it becomes carbon neutral. So it requires annual harvesting. It requires the bamboo which are like some mature to be harvested. There are two carbon neutrality pathways in like bamboo.
Again, it's not moving.
Yeah, I think I used the slide, but I don't know why it's not like moving.
Have you said now it's moving? Yeah, it
Okay,
moved.
fine. There are two carbon neutrality pathways. So one is storing the carbon in the product, and the second is to by the sustainable like management pathway. I don't want to go into detail as our previous speakers have gone into that. So the carbon storage in the bamboo forest, it is in three forms: the above ground, the below ground, and the soil organic carbon. On average, the bamboo forests store the carbon in the range of 94 to 392 tons of carbon per hectare. It depends upon the species, but the average, like the most species, range from 94 to 392 tons of carbon per hectare. It has a higher carbon sequestration rate compared to other trees. In like a well-managed forest of like bamboo, it can sequester up to 25 tons of carbon per hectare per year. This slide shows the general comparison of the carbon sequestration of like bamboo forest, the tree plantation, as well as the forest. If you see here, bamboo's carbon sequestration is in the similar range of the tree plantation, but it is low compared to the natural forest. This is like based upon their analysis of above ground, below ground, and the soil organic carbon. If you see the species specific carbon accumulation rate, in general, the bamboo's carbon accumulation, it ranges from 2.5 tons per hectare to 25 tons per hectare. It again, I am saying it depends upon how we manage it. If you don't manage it, it will be about 2.5 tons of carbon per hectare. If you manage it well, it can be on the higher range. The moso bamboo, we generally call it like the Phylostachys, like pubescens or like the Phylostachys nodulis. The above ground carbon sequestration per year per hectare is like 5.1. The Godua angustifolia from Latin America is about 10 tons. The Bambusa bamboos 24, Bambusa oldhami like some 16. The Phylostachys bambusa is 13. You can see from here the Symporial bamboo has higher biomass carbon accumulation and higher growth compared to the monopodial bamboos which grows in the cooler climate. When we come to the climate change mitigation potential in the form of products, we can estimate that around the 40% of the biomass can be converted into a value-added product which can store carbon for 30, 40 or like some 50 years. His study was already shown by Dr. Kant, so I don't want to go through it again. If you see the flattened bamboo, the sandwiched bamboo board, or like the bamboo product, it has the negative carbon footprint. And if you see the conventional materials like steel, aluminum, concrete, like PVC, it has higher carbon emission. And if you see the bamboo product, including the carbon emission in production and the LCA, it is on the carbon sequestration side. So it is highly beneficial for the climate change like mitigation. As like the bamboo construction material, it can replace the hardwood and high energy materials as we have shown like before, the construction materials, steel, concrete, PVC, so it can be done. Housing and infrastructure, bamboo has a higher role to play. You can produce n number of products, 10,000 augmented product and applications, from cloth to plastic composites to PVCs. Any product which you want to say, it can be like possible from like bamboo. If you see the carbon emission reduction for the production of durable product, you can see from the slide here, in the case of the total carbon sequestration and carbon emission per hectare, in the case of the Phylostachys pubescens like Moso bamboo, it would be around 340 tons of carbon. So if you want to convert it into carbon dioxide, you like multiply it with 3.67. So it would be around 1,500 tons of carbon per hectare. This is what you can sequester from like a bamboo forest if you are converting bamboo into a durable product which can have the carbon. The energy, as you all know, the global emission around 60% of the carbon is emitted from the energy. through the solid, liquid, and gaseous fuel. You can convert bamboo into solid, liquid, and like gaseous fuel, so it has a huge like potential. This is an analysis of INBAR, the carbon emission through a conversion into energy product from another species in Latin American countries. It can sequester up to 320 tons of carbon in their whole eye. So many plastic alternatives, plastic products can be like possible. So it is not only contributing to climate change like mitigation, but also to plastic pollution. This slide was already illustrated by Dr. Khan, so I don't want to go through it again. The important point what I can make here is we have to choose the right species for the right agroclimatic condition, and we choose the species for the product what we are aiming to produce from it. If we choose these two things right, the growth of the bamboo plantation in the country, the adoption of the bamboo plantation by the farmer will go tremendously. At the end of the day, economics will speak louder than the other factors like what we speak about. Um, so, many thanks to the organizer and many thanks to all the participants for listening. So, many thanks to our user. Mr. Gomakant, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, sir. It was nice, wonderful presentation, sir.
Oh, sorry. Thank you, Dr. Dorai, for your very crisp and efficient analysis of the potential of carbon, climate change of bamboo. And so he has to leave. Actually, Dorai has to leave. So, anyone a quick query from Dorai? Any question for the Dr. Dorai? Because he has to leave. Otherwise, you can jot down your query in the chat box. And you have email ID of Dr. Dorai also. He'll be in touch with us immediately if any question is there. So he'll be happy to share reply. Okay, so we proceed further to our next speaker, learned speaker, Dr. Jv Sharma from TERI. So I'll request Umakant to read out his profile, please.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. And I heartily welcome to Dr. Jv Sharma, sir, who is the today's key speaker. A serving Indian forest officer, Dr. Jv Sharma has nearly 34-year experience of overall coordination and management of projects and activities in the forestry sector. He has recently conducted 2-month-long mid-career training program for the senior Indian Forest Service officer, covering various aspects of the many mainstream and cross-cutting issues of forestry. He has also worked on the various projects related to economic valuation of forest ecosystem, change in the forest governance, carbon financing, and enhancing livelihood of forest communities. Presently on deputation to TERI, he is involved in guiding the research and development work in the forestry biodiversity area, which consists of a multidisciplinary professional team of researchers. Also involved in monitoring research, consultancies, and extension activities. He is a faculty also in the Natural Resource Management Department of the TERI University and guiding 5 PhD students on forest governance, climate change, and natural resources economics. So thank you so much. And now, without any delay, I would like to hand over this webinar and time into Dr. Jv Sharma, sir. Sir, Please, you can start your presentation.
Thank you, Amakant. Thank you, Dr. Bhattacharya, for providing an opportunity to share my thoughts and views. And also, I give thanks to Pramod Khan Sahab and Mr. Durai for providing extensive view of how the bamboo is bamboo and the climate change mitigation, and also to some extent the adaptation aspect. Here I got a clue from the Pramod Khan Sahab presentation that each and every farmer or the bamboo grower must be benefited with the carbon finance, but the transaction cost is too high, and the process and methodologies are complex, so it won't be possible for the individual bamboo grower or the farmer to prepare a project and to get the benefit of the carbon finance. But we are implementing 10 projects of the carbon finance at present under the agroforestry as well as for eco development committees to provide carbon finance benefits to the individual farmers as well as the communities. So I will give you the example, and we have developed a business model that farmers need not to spend a penny, government sector need not to spend a penny, and we will prepare the project on behalf of the farmers. We prepare the project, rather we prepare the project on behalf of the farmers, and the benefit, we assure the benefit of the one carbon credit is minimum $6 per ton of the carbon dioxide or the per credit. So we are implementing and implemented project in the 6 districts of the Punjab: Hoshiarpur, Hoshiarpur, Roopnagar, Nawashahar, SAS Nagar, and Daswa Forest Division. So project document has already been approved, validated. We have prepared the monitoring report. Monitoring report is under verification nowadays. Maybe in 15-20 days it will be verified. And you will be surprised to know that for the first cycle, we are 15 lakh, 1.5 million credits to the 4,200 farmers. And we have developed an institution that conservator of forest is the project proponent. And we have developed the institutional mechanism in such a way that farmers are involved in the decision making at each level of the carbon finance management committee, and the conservator forest with a click of mouse will pass on the benefits in form of the finance, in form of the money to the directly to the account of the individual farmers. So maybe 2 months later or 2.5 months later, we will be able to pass on the money to the accounts of the farmers. Why can't we do? We have done it for the Eucalyptus, poplar, and Melia dubia. 3 species, 90% these 3 species, and this is a first cycle payment. And second cycle will be after 2 years because it is a short rotation crops largely. And we have prepared the project of the 34 years. So, but at present crop, we can get only 2 cycles. And later on, if farmers are interested and getting planted again, so that can be received the carbon credits and the finance later on also. We are implementing carbon finance project in 22 districts of the Uttar Pradesh, and 4 circles: Moradabad, Saharanpur, Lucknow, and Meerut. These agroforestry, intensive agroforestry is there in these areas, 22 districts. We are preparing 4 projects, and again the project proponents are the conservator of forest, and we are also using the same kind of the institutional mechanism over here. And we have implemented, or rather implementing carbon finance project in the agroforestry done in the state of Gujarat. We have taken 5 districts and 10,000 farmers. And the projects of the 4 projects as a conservative forest as a project proponent has already been listed, approved, validated. And in the first week of April, we are proceeding for the preparation of the data collection for the preparation of the monitoring report. And these are the scenario that how we can and recently ITC Bhadrachalam has requested, they have planted a lot many tree species through farmers, so that we are going to initiate same kind of the project for the ITC Bhadrachalam as a project proponent, where the 50% benefit will go to the ITC Bhadrachalam and 50% benefit of the carbon finance will go to the farmers, since because this is an arrangement between farmers and the ITC Bhadrachalam, and since plantation cost has been borne by the ITC Bhadrachalam, so that kind of arrangement between farmers and the Bhadrachalam, so that we will be helping them. And in all agroforestry projects, the minimum rate of the carbon credit is $6. This is a minimum rate. Maximum maybe 7 or 7.5 or maybe 8, but minimum $6 is to be provided under these projects. We are also implementing 6 tiger project in carbon finance project in 6 tiger reserves, so that different methodology has been used. These are the under REDD mechanism, and Dudhwa Tiger Reserve project document has already been prepared and submitted under process of the listing. Other tiger reserves projects are under process of preparation. So and these tiger reserves are Dudhwa Tiger Reserve, Pance Tiger Reserve, Maharashtra, Sundarban in West Bengal, Periyar in Kerala, Kaziranga and Manas in Assam. So here I like to mention and like to give emphasis and request Dr. Bhattacharya that if you have a 5,000 hectare plantation, maybe accumulated plantation of the 100 farmers, 200 farmers, even 1,000, 5,000 farmers, so that project can be prepared in the name of the Balaghat Tiger Foundation, and no cost to the Balaghat Tiger Foundation, to the Balaghat Bamboo Foundation, and no cost to the bamboo growers. And again, $5 to $6 per credit will be assured in form of the MOU. And the mechanism is such that we are signing a MOU between the state government, means conservator forest, TERI, and the investor who will be the transacting, and he has the buyback guarantee from the different big corporates in states and big corporates in other European countries, so that there is no dearth of the buyer and the purchaser of the credit, so that that is there. So as far as bamboo is concerned, Dr. Pramod Khan Sahab has also mentioned that transaction cost will be should be less and process will be easy for the farmers, so that whatever the process is as on today, no problem for that, and we will assist with, and we will no cost to the bamboo grower or the farmer or bamboo foundation the project, but only condition is that at least 3.5 lakh emission reduction certificates, means credits must be generated per year. So without that, project will not be economically viable. So that is why I am saying between 5 to 10,000, any figure will be economically viable. And if you have farmers, so that we are ready, we offer our services to help assist and help the farmers for obtaining carbon finance. And another thing I am mentioning over here, we will not keep waiting farmers for too long, and from the signing of the MOU, the first transaction will be done within 24 months, and 24 months, so that trust building will also be there. Otherwise, we ask farmers to keep on waiting for the 5 years, 6 years. So that is not a scenario. That is not a condition. So, so that is why I have not. I decided not to make presentation through slides, to share my views, experience, and thoughts, and how we can assist and help the farmers. If any question in this regard, we are hands-on doing all projects. We know ins and out of the projects, so that will not be feeling shy to reply and question. But if this webinar could have been after 2 months, so we could very, very confidently said that these 15 lakh, 1.5 million credits have been issued and transacted for the 4,200 farmers of the Punjab. So since verification process nowadays is on, maybe 15-20 days, the verifier will verify it. And then within a month or so, the credits will be issued. And then another month and so, the credits will be transacted. So transaction will not be delayed, not be taking much of the time, because buyer is there. Our investor has already have the buyback guarantee from the very, very big. I'm not taking the name of the companies, but very big company of the global big companies. They are offsetting their emissions, and they have adopted the policy of the carbon neutrality. So that in this regard, I have shared my hands-on experience. If any question, any clarification, I'm here to reply that. And I'm not explaining much of the carbon finance projects for the tiger reserves, because it is not applicable in case of the bamboo. In case of the bamboo, the agroforestry mechanism is applicable. So that is why I am explaining much of the agroforestry projects, our hands-on experience in this regard. Kind of assured rate, $6 per credit. That is a minimum. Maximum will be 7, 7.5, or 8. So that I'm mentioning over here. This is a real-time projects. They are not the. I'm not taken any line or any figure from any of the research paper or the secondary literature. This is the facts and factual figures, and that is a part of the project document, that is a part of the monitoring report. So with these words, I stop here, and I will be happy to take any kind of question in this regard. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Jv. It was wonderful, a very valuable information regarding carbon credit modality and mechanism especially for farmers. So I just would like to be educated regarding one issue. You said 5,000 to 10,000 hectare. So can it be converted into number of clumps? Because say in many areas.
Yes, 1 crore.
1 crore clumps.
Clumps. Yes.
1 crore bamboo clumps. Okay, so we'll certainly take it forward. We are
maybe owned by 10,000 farmers, no problem.
Okay, we are working with bamboo producers, bamboo growers, small farmers, and also private people. So we'll certainly take it forward. Here I'll request Dr. Rao, also the Vice Chancellor University, to coordinate to take up a project with TERI regarding this carbon credit.
And Dr. Bhattacharya, we will not be charging any cost from you.
Okay, excellent.
That is a win-win situation. That is a win-win situation for the farmers, and for the university can be the project proponent, or I suggest the Balaghat Bamboo Foundation will be the project proponent.
Okay, excellent. So we'll certainly take it forward. And for Balaghat, there is a tremendous potential. And I'd request Dr. Rao to be involved in that. Also, I'll request JV if you can share one pager report which I can share with the State Bamboo Mission. So you are working with the State Bamboo Mission. So I can advise them, and I can.
What we can do, Dr. Bhattacharya, we can have a meeting. We can do 1 hour online meeting with them, and we'll make a presentation, and then we can take up the question answer. Because in one page note, they will not be able to understand. So it is better to have a online meeting.
Not for understanding. We'll have a webinar interaction. It is just to initiate the process. That's what I mean. We will do this with the intervention of Terry and the guidance of Terry and Jv Sharma. We want to take up this project just for that purpose. We'll we'll have a meeting.
And again, one thing I like to mention that we are also not doing a charity. Investor is investing finance. So investor has the buyback guarantee already. He might be looking some kind of the business out of it. So maybe it is he's a business entrepreneur, and they are investing money first, and then they will take advantage of that afterwards.
Sure. I got it. It has to be a business model.
Yeah,
it has to be a business model and a win-win situation.
For all.
It cannot be a charity. I agree with you. So, any further queries from anybody? Any point? Any question? Any opinion from anybody? It was a very fruitful discussion, especially with respect to Umakant. Just to take it forward. You got it now, Umakant?
Yes, sir.
We are preparing the inventory of growers, farmers, and these artisans and entrepreneurs. So with the help of Terry, we can take it forward as a carbon credit project as well, so that the local farmers can benefit through our initiative. Any query? Any query for any speakers? ST Lepcha has some words of appreciation for you, JV. He's quite impressed with the idea of carbon credit benefits to the farmers. So thank you, Lepcha, for your involvement. And Dr. Rao is there? I can see some other.
And for the benefit of Lepcha, and we are also preparing a carbon finance project for 25 Van Panchayats in Ranikhet Soil Conservation Division and the Nainital Soil Conservation Division. These are the two divisions, two project proponents, and in which by December 23, they will be getting around, because project document has already been prepared. Monitoring report, we have almost analyzing the data and preparing around 5 lakh credits in the month of by December 2023 they will also be getting. So this is a project of the Uttarakhand state.
Thank you.
I forgot to mention it.
Yeah, thank you. So can you elaborate slightly on rate?
Yeah, actually red. I need not to explain the definition of RED, but in which we are focusing on two aspects largely. How much fuel wood is being extracted in the past. We are doing the historical analysis, and we are collecting, doing primary survey. And right now, because in 20 or 21 at present, we are preparing a baseline for the past for 3 to 4 years, so that we are using the recall method. And so the two kind of data we are collecting, and how much fuel wood is being, and after July, and the different departments or even people have started using gases, so how much emissions we are avoiding. So first we are getting the credits of the avoidance largely in the case of the red projects.
Okay, thank you very much.
But another thing I would like to mention that business as usual is not eligible. We have to prove in the project document that it is because of the additionality to mitigate the climate change. And many activities are being done by the State Forest Department on regular schemes, and those works, those aspects have not been eligible for the, because we have to prove the additionality, and additionality aspect has to be as per the whichever the site we are using for the uploading the preparing the project, so their methodology only. So it is a game of the words. Otherwise, we are implementing the activities, and same activities we are including under the red projects, and few projects have already been listed with this approach.
Dhire.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you,
Just
Jv.
one question to
बता पूछो लेप्चा.
So, in the hills also same formula applies. 1
मैं hills की बात कर रहा हूँ ना, मैं
1 crore clumps.
No.
Economics will be different.
No. This is not for the red. This is for the plantations.
Yeah, for the plantation in the hills also the formula.
I have requested PCC of Uttarakhand, but I am sorry to say that they are our colleague that forest officers are not interested in this kind of project. So UP is taken up very largely, and UP the credits of the first cycle will be around 1 crore 80 lakh in 22 districts under the agroforestry. This is a plantation. ये 1 crore का हम बता रहे हैं plantation जो farmers करते हैं उनकी संख्या, not in the hills. Red में there is no limitation how much plantation activities are not there in the red projects largely. Assisting natural regeneration activities, livelihood activities, with reducing dependence on the forest. These activities are there under the red.
So different formula is there.
But rates are also different under the avoidance credits. Avoidance credits are low price, around $4. We are assuring them under the red projects.
So
and then you will ask question why the agroforestry credits are more valuable, because you will be achieving 3-4 sustainable development goals along with the climate change mitigation.
Okay.
So that whosoever will be purchasing that he will also be mentioning in a policy document that I am contributing to mitigate climate change as well as contributing for the achieving sustainable development goals also.
Okay, just one question: who is the nodal for Nainital and
Nainital with DFO Soil Nainital and DFO Soil Ranikhet? These are the two project proponents.
Okay.
But nodal is Anup Malik. Nodal means he initiated the and we won the competitive bid, and we are implementing.
Okay.
This is not a charity. This is free of cost. But we offer for the one panchayats also, the without charging anything, we can take up many projects.
So if one panchayat agrees, then it will be free of cost. No?
Yes.
Okay, I will convey to Josna.
No, but Josna से मैंने बात की थी, Josna भी कुछ नहीं कर पाई. वो उत्तराखंड के ऑफिसर्स इंटरेस्ट ही नहीं लेते किसी काम में. No, I'm very frank to say.
After the departure of Lepcha.
हाँ, केवल एक ही काम में इंटरेस्ट लेते हैं वो लोग. वो समझ गए वो क्या काम है. Openly I am saying here.
Acha, Anil, you are there? Bamburam, Anil? Can you hear me? Anil? Bamburam, Anil. I can see your name in the list. Can you hear me? Anil?
Jv Sharma sir, I have one question for you.
हाँ, sure. बिल्कुल पूछिए जी.
Charu here.
हाँ जी.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Sir, as you mentioned that over here mostly the fuel bid offset is being given. Then what about the utilization of bamboo in other sectors like construction or for that matter biofuel and all of that?
नहीं, मैं बैम्बू का एक्सपर्ट नहीं हूँ। मैंने तो एक उसको कॉमन करके दिया था कि बैम्बू को हम कार्बन फाइनेंस प्रोजेक्ट्स कैसे कर सकते हैं। अगर आप बैम्बू को कंस्ट्रक्शन वगैरह में, तो भट्टाचार्य साहब बहुत ज्यादा एक्सपर्ट हैं उसके, तो वो आपको बता देंगे।
नमस्कार, मैं अनिल मालविया बोल रहा हूँ बेम्बुरम से। वो नेट में प्रॉब्लम थी इसलिए मैं लाइन पर नहीं आया।
अच्छा, मैं ये बताना चाह रहा था अनिल, आपने देर से ज्वाइन किया। जो आप बांस लगवा रहे हैं व्यापक स्तर पे किसानों से, तो अभी डॉक्टर जेवी शर्मा जो टेरी के हैं वो इस बात पे चर्चा कर रहे थे कि किस तरह से जो किसान बांस लगा रहे हैं या किसानों से अपन बांस लगवा रहे हैं, उनको कार्बन क्रेडिट का फायदा किस तरह से करवाया जा सकता है। जैसे अगर हमने 1-2 हजार लोगों ने 10,000 किसानों ने लगाया और उनका कोई खर्चा नहीं आएगा और कार्बन क्रेडिट का जो उनको फायदा मिलेगा $5 से लेकर $60 तक। तो इसको भी आप थोड़ा और समझ लें, और अगर कोई आपको इस संबंध में कुछ क्वेरी हो तो बताएं, इसको हम लोग आगे ले जाएंगे। ठीक है
सर, मैंने अभी पता करवाया था तो ये बता रहे हैं कि कार्बन क्रेडिट इंडिया में बहुत है परंतु वो बिक नहीं रहा है। क्या ऐसा है?
ये आपकी गलतफहमी है। कितने हैं आपके पास क्रेडिट? लाइए, हम बिकवा देते हैं, $10 पे बिकवा देते हैं। कितने क्रेडिट है आपके पास?
नहीं सर, जैसे कि पर एकड़ का जैसे अपन लगवाते तो
इंडिया में किसके पास क्रेडिट है, जरा वो मुझे बता दीजिए।
है नहीं, एक्चुअल में क्या हुआ कि मैंने दिल्ली में मेरे जितने भी हैं परिचित उनसे पूछवाया था, तो वो बोल रहे थे कि
किससे पूछवाया? किसको जानकारी, किसको मालूम है किससे पूछवाया?
हाँ, जानकारी नहीं, निश्चित रूप से उनको जानकारी नहीं होगी।
नहीं, जानकारी नहीं होगी, इसलिए तो मैं बोल रहा हूँ कि जानकारी नहीं है। और यहाँ पे इस फोरम में जितने बैठे हैं, सबसे ज्यादा जानकारी, मुझसे भी ज्यादा जानकारी प्रमोद खान साहब को, हमने उन्हीं से सीखा है।
जी
हाँ,
नहीं समझ गया ना, ये जो चल रहा था ऐसा था कि उतना ज्यादा क्रेडिट नहीं मिल पा रहा था। वो समय समय पे क्या मार्केट की स्थिति रहती है जनरल, तो इसमें कार्बन क्रेडिट के मार्केट में इस तरह से
मैं बता रहा हूँ अब क्यों मार्केट डेवलप हुआ है। इंडिया में भी डेवलप हुआ है।
वही बोल रहा था,
वही मैं बोल रहा हूँ। जब पेरिस एग्रीमेंट हुआ तो पेरिस एग्रीमेंट में ग्लासगो COP26 हुई, तो उसमें बहुत ज्यादा ये एग्री हुआ कि नॉट ओनली नेशनल गवर्नमेंट उसको मिटिगेट कर पाएंगी क्लाइमेट चेंज को टू रेस्ट्रिक्ट टेम्परेचर विद इन 2 डिग्री। सो प्राइवेट एंटरप्रेन्योर्स को बहुत उसमें आगे आना पड़ेगा। देन प्राइवेट एंटरप्रेन्योर ऑफ द यूएस एंड अदर्स, उन्होंने सभी ने अपना पॉलिसी डिसीजन लिया कि हम कार्बन न्यूट्रल होंगे। किसी ने 2030 तक लिया, किसी ने 2040 तक लिया, किसी ने 2050 तक लिया है। इवन इंडिया में भी मोर देन 200 कॉर्पोरेट्स ये डिसीजन, अपनी पॉलिसी डिसीजन ले चुके हैं। तीसरी चीज, सेबी ने अपने उसमें सस्टेनेबिलिटी का एक इंडेक्स रखा है, जो जितनी भी कंपनीज हैं वो उसमें आप उसमें भी अपने जो एमिशंस हैं उनको भी ऑफसेट करेंगे सस्टेनेबिलिटी इंडेक्स के अंदर। तो अभी इंडिया के अंदर हो क्या रहा है कि अमेरिकन हैं, जब मैं आपको ओपनली बता दे रहा हूँ, अमेरिकन हैं, वो जो कहते हैं वो करते हैं। तो उनकी कंपनीज ने जो डिसीजन लिया है उसमें दे आर ट्राइंग टू। और दूसरी चीज है वाई फ्रॉम इंडिया ओनली। वाई फ्रॉम इंडिया ओनली इसलिए कि एक एमिशन को, एक 1 टन ऑफ कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड के एमिशन को ऑफसेट करने के लिए यूएस में $50 से लेकर $100 तक खर्चा आ रहा है, और वही काम इंडिया में $15 से $20 में हो जा रहा है। सो लाइक दे आर आल्सो फोकसिंग ऑन द एग्रोफॉरेस्ट्री, plantation forestry, RED mechanism under the conservation approach from India, and another thing that northeast के जो credits हैं they are further more valuable। अब वो क्यों है? बिकॉज नॉर्थ ईस्ट की क्रेडिट्स की ज्यादा डिमांड है बाहर में। तो जो क्योंकि हमारे इन्वेस्टर हैं वो बार बार कह रहे हैं कि सर नॉर्थ ईस्ट में जरूर, तभी मैंने अभी कोशिश करके काजीरंगा एंड मानस के 2 प्रोजेक्ट्स, इसमें गवर्नमेंट के साथ प्रोजेक्ट्स हैं, एनटीसी ने क्लियर किया है, गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया ने क्लियर किया है, और तब जाके जो टाइगर फाउंडेशन के सीईओस हैं उन्होंने साइन किया है एमओयू। तो एमओयू हमारा ऐसा नहीं है कि हम लोग चीजें हवा में कर रहे हैं, क्योंकि पूरा प्रॉपर तरीके से एमओयू साइन करके गवर्नमेंट के अप्रूवल्स के बाद में वो साइन करके तब जाके इसमें हम आगे बढ़ रहे हैं।
सर मैं एक क्वेश्चन पूछ लूं?
बिल्कुल,
जैसे कि अपन एक एकड़ में अपन 1000 पेड़ लगाते हैं, तो इसमें क्या कार्बन क्रेडिट कितना क्या मिलता है एक एकड़ के हिसाब?
तो आपको कैलकुलेट करके आपको उसकी प्रोडक्टिविटी क्या है उसमें बताया जाएगा। ऑफ हैंड इसके रेडी रेकनर्स नहीं है। जैसे कि अभी प्रेजेंटेशन में दिया गया था, उस करीब इसमें दिया हुआ है कि 25 टन मैक्सिमम आ सकता है आपके पर हेक्टेयर। तो पर हेक्टेयर में तो ये, और उसके मुताबिक मैंने कैलकुलेट भी किया था, क्योंकि दैट इज ए मैक्सिमम वो आ सकता है। तो करीब 20,000 के आसपास है ये आता है, जो प्रेजेंट वैल्यू के मुताबिक है। ये 20,000 रुपीज
ये ईयरली रहता है, ईयरली रहता है।
ये डिपेंड करेगा कितनी प्रोडक्टिविटी है। अभी ये मैंने मैक्सिमम प्रोडक्टिविटी के ऊपर जो 25 के ऊपर कैलकुलेट किया है, 25 के ऊपर कैलकुलेट किया है। तो अगर 25 टन कार्बन पर हेक्टेयर की प्रोडक्टिविटी है, उसके अंदर प्रोडक्शन है, तब ये इतना आ जाएगा। और इट ऑल टू बी डिपेंडिंग अपॉन योर क्वालिटी प्लांटिंग मटेरियल व्हाट यू आर यूजिंग एंड व्हाट इज द प्रोडक्टिविटी ऑफ देयर, उस पर डिपेंड करेगा। अब यहाँ पे एक और भी चीज मैं आपको बताना चाहूंगा। सेकेंडरी जो ये इस पे प्रोजेक्ट डॉक्यूमेंट तो बन जाते हैं, बट जो एक्चुअल क्रेडिट्स मिलते हैं वो एक्चुअल मेजरमेंट की बेसिस पे मिलते हैं। तो जो उसमें मेजरमेंट में आपकी जितनी वैल्यू आएगी वो वैल्यू आपको मिलेगी। और ऐसा नहीं होता कि हमने जो कैलकुलेट करके दे दिया वो फाइनल हो गया। थर्ड पार्टी का वेरिफिकेशन होता है, वो वेरीफाई करते हैं। एक इसका एक बड़ा लॉन्ग प्रोसेस है, और उसको मैं आपको 2 मिनट या 4 मिनट में नहीं समझा पाऊंगा। तो उसमें ये समझिए कि अगर अमेरिका में भी बैठा हुआ आदमी आपकी रिपोर्ट को देखेगा तो वो हर तरीके से जीआईएस टेक्नोलॉजी से भी वेरीफाई कर लेगा कि उस जगह पे उतने पौधे, पेड़ पौधे उस साइज के हैं कि नहीं है। यहाँ तक उतना डिटेल जाता है उसमें।
अनिल, ये जो है ना प्रोडक्ट, मतलब जितना जैसे हाई डेंसिटी प्लांटेशन होता है आजकल, हाई डेंसिटी हो गया है, तो प्रोडक्टिविटी बढ़ जाएगी, तो वो वेरी करेगा आपका। और स्पीसीज कौन सा लगा रहे हो वो उस पे वेरी करेगा। तो बहुत सारी चीजें। एक
बार जो यूकलिप्टस के केस में होता है कि एक पेड़ 2,000 का हो गया, 3,000 का, तो किसानों ने एक हेक्टेयर में 10,000 पेड़ लगा दिए। उससे नहीं, ये रॉन्ग नोशन है। इसको जो जितना आपका प्रोडक्टिविटी होगी, जितना आपकी ऑप्टिमम प्रोडक्टिविटी होगी, उस तरीके से आप उसको मैनेज करें अपने प्लांटेशन को। और प्लांटेशन से आप टिम्बर की वैल्यू लें, उस एंगल से आप करें। और कार्बन की वैल्यू एक एडिशनल है, को बेनिफिट है आपके लिए। इसको आप की बेनिफिट कभी भी ना माने, को बेनिफिट माने।
ठीक सर।
एक और मेरा क्वेश्चन
हाँ, बिल्कुल जी।
सपोज देखो, बैम्बू जनरली हम 4th ईयर में काटते हैं, हार्वेस्ट करते हैं, तो फिर वो यूटिलाइज हो जाता है ना, तो वो कार्बन तो लीक हो गया ना, तो
ना लीक नहीं हुआ
फार्मर्स को, ये बता दीजिए
ना, उसमें लीकेज का पोर्शन हमें कंपोनेंट रखना पड़ता है ना, रिस्क का भी कंपोनेंट रखना पड़ता है। जब मॉनिटरिंग रिपोर्ट बनती है तो उसमें दोनों चीजें आती हैं। तो 100% बैम्बू तो लकड़ी जलने में नहीं जाती ना, एमिशन फॉर्म में नहीं जाती ना। जो आप कंस्ट्रक्शन में यूज होती है, जो फर्नीचर में यूज होती है, तो वो लॉक में चली जाती है ना फिर बाद में।
यस, वो प्रोपोर्शनली कैलकुलेट होगा ना,
प्रोपोर्शनली कैलकुलेट होती है। और उसमें जो क्रेडिट्स होते हैं वो उसमें सेफ उसमें रखे जाते हैं कि लीकेज के लिए अलग से वो सब माइनस किए जाते हैं यार।
ओके।
हाँ, अच्छा, एक और भी चीज बताते हैं जो कि हमने भी अभी नई सीखी है, जो कि जिन भी स्पीसीज की साइकिल 5 साल 7 साल होती है, यूकेलिप्टस पॉपुलर वगैरह की, इसमें क्या होता है कि जो लॉन्ग टर्म, इसमें लॉन्ग टर्म एवरेज निकाला जाता है, और जो साइकिल का एवरेज निकाला जाता है, विच एवर लेस वो आपको मिलता है।
ओके।
तो उसके बाद पंजाब में 15 लाख मिले, मतलब 15 लाख आए हैं। वेरीफायर हो सकता है 14 लाख दे, 14.5 लाख दे, छोटा मोटा प्लस माइनस होगा, उसमें ज्यादा कुछ नहीं।
वो डेटा एक्सट्रापोलेट करता होगा ना।
हाँ,
एक्सट्रापोलेट करके वैल्यू निकालता होगा।
नहीं, इसमें क्या है कि 100% मेजरमेंट नहीं होती लेक्चर, इसमें स्टैटिस्टिकली रिप्रेजेंटेड होता है।
ओके
सर, एक क्वेश्चन और था। ये जो आपने बताया एज अ फाइनेंशियल प्रोजेक्ट, ये फाइनेंशियली वायबल मिनिमम कितना?
वही मैंने बताया ना, 5, मैंने अपने आप से कैलकुलेट किया उसको थोड़ा सा। 5 से 10,000 हेक्टेयर के बीच में अगर होगा, चाहे वो 10,000 किसानों का मिला के हो, उससे फर्क नहीं पड़ता।
ओके 5 से 10,000,
1 करोड़ नहीं।
हाँ, 5 से 10,000
चारों। उससे भी ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट ये है, हेक्टेयर से नहीं होता है कि कितने उसमें क्लम्प्स होंगे। तो उसने भी बताया 1 करोड़ क्लम्प्स, 1 करोड़ क्लम्प्स की बात हो रही है।
देखिए, प्रोजेक्ट तो आपका 1 क्लम्प का भी बन सकता है टेक्निकली, बट वो इकोनॉमिकली वायबल नहीं होता। जिसको पैसा इन्वेस्ट करना होगा आपके प्रोजेक्ट में, तो वो कम से कम 3.5 लाख 4 लाख क्रेडिट्स पर ईयर का उसको आना चाहिए ना। उसको भी अपनी कोई आगे ब्रोकरेज मिल रही होगी, कुछ मिल रहा होगा। तो ये जैसे हम लोग उसके लिए प्रपोजल प्रोजेक्ट बनाते हैं, काम करते हैं, तो ये करीब उसमें उससे ही बात होके रखा है कि 3-3.5 लाख कम से कम मिनिमम होना चाहिए पर ईयर,
क्योंकि नंबर ऑफ क्लम्स इज मोर इम्पोर्टेंट देन एरिया।
क्योंकि अगर
स्पार्स है बहुत ज्यादा, आपने एक हेक्टेयर में 2,500 भी लगते हैं, 600 भी लगते हैं, 1,000 भी लगते हैं, तो उसमें बहुत ही ज्यादा वेरिएशन हो जाएगा। तो नंबर ऑफ क्लम्स इज मोर इम्पोर्टेंट देन एरिया।
एंड वन पीस ऑफ एडवाइस टू लेप्चा, अगर तुम अपने बिजनौर हरिद्वार और जो उधम सिंह नगर वगैरह है जहाँ एग्रो फॉरेस्ट्री के हैं और बहुत बड़ा पोटेंशियल है वहां पे, इफ यू कैन विद योर गुड ऑफिस, इफ यू कैन इन्फ्लुएंस द फॉरेस्ट ऑफिसर्स ऑफ द उत्तराखंड, सो देन वी कैन टेक अप दैट आल्सो। आप ये कहेंगे एग्रो फॉरेस्ट्री में हम फॉरेस्ट ऑफिसर का क्यों लेते हैं? अब पहली चीज तो ये है कि आई एम ए फॉरेस्टर, तो आई हैव ए बेटर एक्सेस टू द फॉरेस्टर्स, तो एग्रीकल्चर ऑफिसर पे तो हमारी एक्सेस हो गई नहीं। दूसरा चीज है, स्टेट्स में पेड़ पौधे का जो लार्जली काम है वो फॉरेस्ट ऑफिसर कर रहे हैं, एग्रीकल्चर वाले अपना इसको सेकंड ग्रेड ट्रीटमेंट देते हैं एग्रो फॉरेस्ट्री को। सो दैट इज व्हाई वी आर गोइंग थ्रू द कंजर्वेटिव फॉरेस्ट एज ए प्रोजेक्ट प्रोपोनेंट।
ओके, ठीक है, मैं बात
सर एक क्वेश्चन है कि ये जैसे कि 1 साल ये कार्बन क्रेडिट कब से मिलने लगता है? 1 साल का पौधा होता है?
नहीं, मैंने आपको बताया, देखिए 2 चीजें हैं इसमें। हम 4 साल पुराने प्लांटेशन भी टेकअप करते हैं
जी।
वॉलंटरी कार्बन मार्केट में 4 साल पुराने कार्बन प्लांटेशन को टेकअप करने का प्रोविजन है, और उसमें नहीं था जो कंप्लायंस मार्केट के अंदर। तो अभी हम जो प्रोजेक्ट बना रहे हैं वो वॉलंटरी कार्बन मार्केट के लिए बना रहे हैं। तो आपका 4 साल पुराना प्लांटेशन लिया और जिस दिन एमओयू साइन हुआ उसके 24 महीने के अंदर हम पहले ट्रांजेक्शन की बात करते हैं, तो 4 साल वाला 5 साल का हो गया, 3 साल वाला 4 साल का हो गया, तो इसकी 2 साइकिल लेंगे और 2 साइकिल में इसका बेनिफिट मिलेगा। 2-2 साल की 2 साइकिल लेंगे और 4 साल पुराने हो गए तो टोटल प्रोजेक्ट जो उसका होगा 4 2 6 2 8, और प्रोजेक्ट तो थोड़ा और लंबे समय के लिए बनेगा, बट जो मोटे तौर पर वो तो उसकी टेक्निकल बातें हैं, उसके मुताबिक हम लोग बनाते हैं। बट आपके जानकारी के लिए ये 8-10 साल जो है एक्टिव रहेगा पूरा।
अच्छा सर, मैं ये पूछ रहा था कि इसका लिटरेचर मिल जाएगा क्या पूरा डिटेल?
लिटरेचर मेरा साइट है, आप देख लीजिए, सारा लिटरेचर लिखा हुआ है, आप उसको पढ़ लीजिए। लिटरेचर मिलने की कहीं आजकल तो सब चीजें ऑनलाइन है, सारी मैथोलॉजी सभी कुछ है, ऑनलाइन है। और वैसे भी मैं एक और चीज बता, रेड की मैथोलॉजी वो चेंज करने जा रहे हैं, 28 को वर्कशॉप है उनकी। आप पार्टिसिपेट करना चाहें तो उसमें भी पार्टिसिपेट कर सकते हैं। वेरा की 28 तारीख को 2 वर्कशॉप है, रेड की मैथोलॉजी उसको चेंज करने जा रहे हैं। हाँ जी।
यहाँ क्या एमपी में कुछ क्या कि 15 जिले हम वो कर रहे हैं जैविक खेती पे, तो उसमें मतलब गवर्नमेंट करना चाह रही है, तो उसमें हम बेम्बू लगवाना चाह रहे हैं साथ में।
आप लगवाइए, तो बेम्बू का इसमें बेम्बू लगवाइए। बेम्बू देखिए 2 चीजें लगवाइए, उसका तो प्रोजेक्ट बन ही सकता है, बट मैंने वही कहा ना कि आपका कम से कम 1 करोड़ पौधा तो होना चाहिए ना, जो दूसरा आदमी आपका प्रोजेक्ट बनाएगा तो वो इकोनॉमिकली वायबल जाए।
जी। अभी तो खैर मैंने प्राइवेट लैंड ली है, कम से कम यहाँ 1600-1700 एकड़, उसमें भी करवा रहे हैं। टोटल भी करीब
आप ही के नाम से बन जाएगा तो एक अकेला प्रोजेक्ट 1600-1700 एकड़ का। तो
हाँ, तो मैं भट्टाचार्य सर से मिल लूंगा।
हाँ बिल्कुल मिल, पूरा बताइए।
जेवी, मतलब आई हैव ट्राइड टू इंटीग्रेट, आई एम एडवाइजर टू ग्रीन इंडिया, जो ग्रीन इंडिया मिशन का जो है एमपी का, तो उसमें भी मैंने बोला है कि टेक अप बैम्बू इन ए बिग वे, एंड उसमें भी कार्बन क्रेडिट के साथ लिंक करके किया है। तो आई विल परस्यू दैट।
देखिए ऐसा है ना, मध्य प्रदेश में कैबिनेट ने डिसीजन लिया है कि जो डिग्रेडेड फॉरेस्ट पे प्राइवेट एंटरप्रेन्योर अपना इन्वेस्टमेंट करेगा, और जो कार्बन क्रेडिट्स जो हैं वो प्राइवेट एंटरप्रेन्योर को मिलेंगे, बेनिफिट्स कम्युनिटीज को मिलेंगे। यहाँ पे मेरा प्रश्न है गवर्नमेंट ऑफ मध्य प्रदेश से, कार्बन क्रेडिट कोई पेड़ पर नहीं लगते, उसके लिए प्रोसेस के थ्रू जाना पड़ता है, और कोई संस्था होती है, वो संस्था उसको इश्यू करती है, तब वो वैलिड होते हैं, मान्य होते हैं, तब उनको आप कह सकते हैं कि हमारे इतने कार्बन क्रेडिट्स आए। ऐसे नहीं होगा कि मैंने आपने बोल दिया तो कार्बन क्रेडिट्स या किसी पेड़ पर लगे तो वहां से हम लेके आ गए। तो उसका तो वो प्रोसेस, उसके लिए मध्य प्रदेश गवर्नमेंट को थोड़ा सा आगे आना पड़ेगा, उसको करना पड़ेगा। दो हम लोगों ने प्रेजेंटेशन किए थे उनके लिए मध्य प्रदेश
में। तो डिस्कशन में तुम तो थे उस दिन।
हाँ मैं था ना, मैंने बताया तो था उस दिन मैंने मध्य प्रदेश में, बट वो आगे they have not taken forward of that। और वही आसाम ने आगे बढ़ाया उसको, तो आसाम का हमने टेकअप कर दिया।
विल टेक अप अभी ना, जो तुम कह रहे थे, एडवाइस कर रहे थे ना डिस्कशन के लिए, तो ग्रीन इंडिया मिशन वालों को भी बुला लेंगे उसमें।
ठीक है,
तो बैम्बू, ग्रीन इंडिया मिशन और दोनों के साथ डिस्कस करके विल फाइनलाइज।
नहीं ये तो पर्टिकुलर अब हम नौकरी के लिए नौकरी नहीं कर रहे हैं, एक कितना सेक्टर में किसी चीज को आगे ले जा सकते हैं उसके लिए काम कर रहे हैं। तो वो तो
नहीं, मैं तो बिल्कुल प्रो बोनो कर रहा हूँ ना, मैं तो आई एम ऑन मिशन गिविंग बैक, आई एम डूइंग इट प्रो बोनो एंड आल्सो मिशन गिविंग बैक।
तो दैट इज व्हाई मैंने तुम कोई से कहा था प्रेजेंटेशन, तो दैट्स व्हाई मैंने कहा मैं प्रेजेंटेशन नहीं करूंगा, मैं आपको।
नहीं अच्छा रहा, इट वाज वेरी गुड, इट वाज वेरी गुड, it was very good, and I hope if any query is not there।
last question है डॉक्टर जेवी शर्मा के लिए।
हाँ पूछो बिल्कुल।
सारे एक बार में करोगे?
नो
लेफ्ट से पूछो।
नहीं, इसमें कोई 2-3 प्राइवेट कंपनी भी है ऐसे, मतलब बोल रहे थे कि फोन आया था मिजोरम बैम्बू मिशन को ना, मुझे पूछ रहे थे कहाँ तक ऑथेंटिक है नहीं है।
देखिए दो चीजें हैं, देखिए ऑथेंटिक तो अभी कह सकते हैं कि ऑथेंटिक जो हम लोग कर रहे हैं उसको थोड़ा ऑथेंटिक इसलिए मान सकते हैं कि इन्वेस्टर इज इन्वेस्टिंग मनी, और अब तक वो 10 करोड़ से ज्यादा इन्वेस्ट कर चुका है। अब 10 करोड़ कोई भी ऐसे तो इन्वेस्ट नहीं करेगा। और हाँ, 2 महीने बाद हम आपको बता देंगे कि ऑथेंटिसिटी पंजाब का ट्रांजैक्शन होते ही 2 महीने या मैक्सिमम 3 महीने में पंजाब का ट्रांजैक्शन हो जाएगा।
ओके।
हाँ, पंजाब का लगभग 2 साल पुराना हो गया प्रोजेक्ट।
ओके।
हाँ, तो उसके बाद मैं आपको फर्दर ज्यादा कॉन्फिडेंस के साथ आपको कह पाऊंगा कि और 40 to 100 फार्मर्स को इतना, वैसे उनका जो पैसा आ रहा है 85 से 90 करोड़ के बीच में आएगा 40 to 100 फार्मर्स के लिए।
तो नॉर्थ ईस्ट से क्वेरी था ना, तो इसलिए मैंने उनको जवाब देनी।
नहीं, नॉर्थ ईस्ट से अभी हम 2 मानस एंड काजीरंगा में प्रोजेक्ट टेकअप किया, क्योंकि नॉर्थ ईस्ट में एग्रो फॉरेस्ट्री बहुत ज्यादा नहीं है।
नहीं, बैम्बू में कोशिश कर रहे थे।
नहीं, बैम्बू में कर सकते हैं, तो मैंने बताया मिनिमम उतना थोड़ा प्लांटेशन होना चाहिए।
नहीं जेवी, you'll be surprised to learn we don't have any baseline data कि मध्य प्रदेश में प्राइवेट में कितने और ट्रिमेंडस है, बहुत है। हमने जब भी अभी, लेकिन हमारे पास
इसमें एक और भी चीज बता दें, जो बैम्बू या एग्रो फॉरेस्ट्री के प्लांटेशंस में हम लोग प्रोजेक्ट बनाते हैं, इसमें बेसलाइन 0 रखते हैं। और बेसलाइन 0 केवल जीआईएस पे, जो कि वहां पे पहले खेत था, खेत खलियान था, तो उसकी जीआईएस से प्रूव करना पड़ता है कि ये मतलब फर्स्ट टाइम मिटिगेट क्लाइमेट चेंज करने के लिए किया गया है। तो इसको मतलब वो प्रोजेक्ट बनाना भी थोड़ा आसान हो जाता है उसके लिए।
I'm not talking of new plantation. I'm saying that the already available stock है private land पे, बैम्बू स्टॉक है, उसका इंफॉर्मेशन नहीं है हमारे पास।
हाँ, तो वो इंफॉर्मेशन तो रखना, वो तो हाँ, क्योंकि एज ए प्रोजेक्ट प्रोपोनेंट आपको वो इंफॉर्मेशन आपको देनी पड़ेगी ना हमें वो।
यस,
चलिए,
ओके, इट वाज वंडरफुल, आई थिंक सो। Actually, Bamboo Mission director he had informed he joined. He is not going to join. So we now conclude this with the words of so much gratitude and thanks to all the speakers and the resource persons and organizers and all my mates to make it success. At least one phase of this journey is over. We'll take up the next phase in another 1 month or so. And I think this has been a great experience for all of us, and we want to have a good output of the whole experience in form of a book or proceedings. And Charu would like to conclude. Want to say something at the end?
Sir, I have got stuck into something. If you can please conclude. Sorry.
It's nice to see Lepcha. Charu, go ahead. Charu, wanted to say something?
Yeah, मुझे कुछ काम आ गया सर, मैं conclude नहीं कर पाऊंगा.
Okay, fine. Thank you. Good luck to all of you. And look forward to see you all soon. And let's contribute to the cause of bamboo. I think it will be a great cause at the local level, regional level, and federal level, all and global. So now I am working global to local. So I'm presently working at village level. And,
thank you.
So let's take it forward. Thank you very much. All the best. Good luck.